Let's get into some market analysis now with Moses Waireri. He's a research analyst at Genghis Capital. Moses, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Let's get straight into your view on the markets and the activity we're seeing yesterday, marking a fourth straight session of gains for the NSE All-Share Index.
Thank you, Alishia. Yes, the NSE has been on an upward trend for most of this year, and which has been very, very positive. Considering we're having elections in less than 30 days. We did expect that the NSE would recover from the profit-taking activities that we witnessed about 2 weeks ago. We expected the NSE to trade within the range of 43.50 and 44.50. And if it breaches that 44.50 as it is at the moment, we expect it to slowly move towards the 4500 mark.
What's going to take it to that next level, Moses? So what do you see being needed to sustain the gains that we have seen? Because we are, as you say, nearing those elections pretty soon.
I'd say the key thing that will push it to such levels, to the 4500 levels, will be the kicking off of the earnings seasons and the earnings reporting seasons, which is about to kick off on the 15th of February with EABL announcing their half-year results. And then from there, we expect a really strong performance from EABL, and we also expect really strong performance from the banking sector. Therefore, this would have this will be the catalyst that will push it beyond that 4500 levels.
What's your view on the financial sector specifically? Because it's early positioning on the financial services sector that's seen demand outstrip supply, on those counters, specifically with 6 of the counters yesterday edging up and only 4 marking marginal losses. So there seems to be a lot of positive sentiment around the financials specifically.
Yes, there's a report that the CBK did last year. For the past 10 months, the first 10 months of 2012, the banking sector in general had a profit of about 90 billion shillings, which is slightly more than the full year profits of 2011. And analysts and the consensus is that we will hit the 100 billion mark once they release their full year 2012 results. That's why we're seeing a lot of demand for these financial sector counters.
Surprisingly enough, Moses, we've had demand filter through for a player like Kenya Airways as well. To what extent is this just bargain hunting coming to the fore? Because as I highlighted earlier, Kenya Airways last year was one of the hardest hit, the worst performer on the local bourse.
Yes, the aviation industry in general has been hard hit by the global events, and KQ is one of the companies which has felt the brunt of the industry in general, the headwinds that they're facing, that the industry in general is facing. So at current prices of 1080, 1090, we believe that KQ is very undervalued, but we do expect pressure going forward because the Boeing fiasco will affect KQ, and as well as the volatility in the Middle East that will affect Kenya Airways as well. So going forward, we do expect KQ to be at these levels, at the 1080, 1090 levels.
So undervalued, but one would assume then you're not a buyer just yet?
No, I wouldn't buy it just yet, because I would expect it to move towards the 10 shilling level. That's when I would accumulate it.
Okay, let's take a look at a player that we don't often talk about on the show, Car and General. It emerged as the top gainer in yesterday's session with a rise of 6.67%. It's currently trading at about that 24 Kenyan shilling mark. Your view on Car and General right now?
Car and General, their core business is doing really well. They reported profits. I'm thinking this is just a one-off because it's one of the most illiquid counters on the NSE. So I'm thinking this is just a one-off trade that has pushed it to the 24 shilling level. I do not expect to see much activity on it going forward.
Okay, in terms of what's on your radar screen, Moses, moving forward, as we progress through this week specifically, take us through where you're seeing some of the opportunity right now.
I see some opportunity in Kenyan, Kenya Re. We'll see a lot of local investors' demand on those counters, Seckam as well, because their full year is ending in March, and the fact that they bought out a company it's a financial services company, will boost the sentiment that investors have about the company. And the groundbreaking ceremony on one of the biggest real estate projects that it has invested in is about to happen in a few months, probably before the end of Q1. We'll see a lot of activity on TCL, Trans-Century, as well as in the financial services, I'd say National Bank of Kenya and HFCK.
Very interesting news headline making its way this morning, where we've got a crash in carbon prices hitting Kenyan companies specifically. We had The Economist magazine looking at this and highlighting that it looks set to hurt the earnings of companies such as that of power producer Kenyan, sugar miller Mumias, and then Portland Cement Company as well, which have invested heavily in environmentally friendly projects. Moses, how are you digesting that news this morning?
Yes, I just happened to read that just before the show, and I do think it will hurt the earnings of Kenyan, but marginally, with regard to the size of the portfolio that it has invested in environmentally specific projects. So I don't think that the impact will be as bad as projected in that news article. But going forward with as much as with increased investment in the environmentally specific projects, we do any decline in the carbon credits value will have a major impact going forward for Kenyan.